Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing dumper mindset at New Year. I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing dumper mindset at New Year. If you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, then the New Year period can be very challenging for your mindset. New Year is of course a time of year where billions of people around the world celebrate and get excited for what a new year has in offer for them. However, if you've been dumped, then you might be feeling quite low right now. You might be feeling that your future is bleak. Please always remember to speak to your friends, your family, and if you are feeling depressed, contact a local doctor. You will get through this bleak tunnel, and you will move through the tunnel into the light and into the happiness. So in today's podcast, I thought I would help answer the question that most dumpies wonder and ponder over during New Year, which is, what is the dumper mindset at New Year? So I'm going to be going through 3 points, 3 ideas of what most dumpers will be experiencing in their mindset during the New Year period. So let's get straight into this. And number 1 is reflective. So at New Year, people will reflect on the year that is ending, as well as previous New Year's Eves. This will act as a trigger for a dumper to think of their dumpee, and potentially it could cause them to contact you, the dumpee. So most people around the world who are celebrating New Year are going to be feeling reflective. It is a reflection of the year that has just ended, all the way through all of those months of this year. But additionally, you will become reflective of previous New Year's Eves. And this is because New Year's Eve is a particularly important day for most people around the world. And therefore, it is a day that people remember and reflect on. So if you are a dumpee and you're wondering how this affects your dumper, you must remember that dumpers are like everybody else. They will be feeling reflective. They will be thinking back throughout this year. They will also be thinking of previous New Year's Eves that have gone by. And because of this, they are very likely to be thinking of you. This time of year will act as a trigger, and your dumper will be thinking of you, the dumpee. It is natural, whether it's due to the year that has just gone by or previous New Year's Eves, they will be thinking of you. And when they think of you, this is a trigger, and a trigger in essence is ignition. So you're probably thinking, if this is the ignition, then what is the fuel? Well, the fuel is what I like to describe as romantic emotional attraction. And when two people are in a relationship, there is a high level of romantic emotional attraction that both people feel for one another. Now, for whatever reason, this level of romantic emotional attraction can drop. And when it hits a certain low point, this is when a breakup will occur. Now, for reasons and ways that I've explained in previous podcasts, you can grow the level of romantic emotional attraction in your dumper's mind. So if you have been dumped, then at the moment of the breakup, the level will be very low. And you need to raise that level. And I've gone through this in many other podcasts of how you can try and do this. If you want to learn more about it, then please make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for notifications so you are notified of all of my content. So assuming that you've been able to grow the level of romantic emotional attraction, that would mean that you have grown the amount of fuel in your ex's mind. And therefore, when the ignition takes place, when the trigger happens, this will explode your ex's mind into life, and that is when they will reach out to you. So as a dumpee, it's so important to realise that your ex will think of you at this time of year, and if there is enough romantic emotional attraction in their mind that they feel for you, then this ignition, this trigger, will cause them to reach out. If they don't contact you, then that will mean that they haven't quite got enough romantic emotional attraction that they are feeling for you. However, this doesn't mean they won't in the future. The amount of times I've heard dumpers reach out in early January, for instance, or maybe further on into the year, and this is because that is the moment where the level of romantic emotional attraction has hit the necessary high point, and then they are waiting for a trigger later down the line. So now let's get into point number 2, and point number 2 is joyful. So New Year's Eve is often a time for celebration, and dumpers will likely celebrate more than dumpees. This is because the dumper is living a life that they chose. They decided to end the relationship, and hence they will likely feel relaxed and able to celebrate New Year. So dumpees often ask me, why is it that I as a dumpee really struggle for important dates on the calendar? But it seems that dumpers don't. It seems like that dumpers don't have any struggle going through these moments. Now, firstly, it's important to say we don't know for certain what somebody is going through. Even if you are basing this on maybe something you've read on social media or something you've been told, this doesn't necessarily mean that your ex is feeling positive and excited. However, we do have to consider the possibility that at New Year's Eve in particular, where lots of people are celebrating and feeling joyful, that your ex, the dumper, will probably be feeling these positive feelings as well. The reason for this is because as they ended the relationship, they had control over their life journey. You as the dumpee did not have the control that you wished over your life. A decision you didn't want to happen was taken place. And therefore you are feeling robbed of the decision making. You are feeling very low value. You are feeling like your thoughts and feelings don't matter. Whereas the dumper, they are not going through the same agony you are, because they made the decision. They made the decision to end the relationship, and therefore they are not feeling the anxiety you are feeling because they made the choices. They are feeling high value. They wanted something to happen, and it happened. They wanted the relationship to end, and it ended. So they don't have the same pull of emotions at these times of year. And if New Year's Eve is taking place, and if your ex, the dumper, has the possibility to enjoy themselves and to really relax and feel joyful, they will find it a lot easier than you as the dumpee, because from their perspective, their life has gone down the path that they have chosen. And therefore, they will not be feeling the same pain and the same grind that dumpees will be feeling during this special time of year. So now let's move into point number 3, and the final point of today's podcast, where I'm describing likely dumper mindsets at New Year. And number 3 is future thinking. So making plans for the future is very common at New Year. It's tradition to make a New Year's resolution. Dumpers will likely see a New Year as a blank canvas for them to explore. However, the problem with New Year's resolutions is that they are very rarely completed. Most New Year's resolutions are stopped in the conception point, or maybe if somebody tries them at first, they quickly quit. Because if it is just a thought in the mind, if it is something which is not really based upon proper drive and determination and a desire, then New Year's resolutions often fall through. A dumper's life in the year ahead is unlikely to be as fantastic as they might imagine right now. Life always has bumps in the road, and a dumper will not feel any different when they are moving forward. They might be feeling positive right now, but this doesn't mean that they're not going to hit a bump in the road very, very soon. So life is challenging for dumpees, as you know. And as you know, you never quite know what's round the next corner, whether it is good or bad. And if a dumper goes through a difficult time, like they likely will at some stage, they are likely to think back to previous happy times. And this is when another trigger can take place and they will be thinking of their dumpee. The fading effect bias is a theory that suggests that people lose value in bad memories sooner than positive ones. Therefore, there is every chance a dumper can think of their ex in a positive way when considering if they made the right or wrong decision with the breakup. So the fading effect bias is something that I've done podcasts on in the past, so please search that out on my channel if you would like to learn more. But in essence, it is the theory that over time, people lose value in negative memories quicker and sooner than positive memories. This doesn't mean they completely forget what's happened, but it means they hold less weight, they hold less value in their mindset compared to positive. So if you had a great relationship with your ex and then things hit tricky times and the relationship was over, then when your ex looks back to these moments, they will remember the positive times with more strength than the negative times. Those times over the period of a few months and further, they will lessen even further. The negative memories will lose their value in your dumper's mind. And what will be left are more positive memories. And therefore, this can be another opportunity for if and when your ex, the dumper, might reach out to you. Because when a dumper moves forward into the future and hits that bumpy road, when they realise that life isn't perfect all of the time, they will get to the stage where they look at themselves in the mirror. And when they look at themselves in the mirror, that is when they will be wondering, did I make the right decision back then? Could I have made a different choice? My life isn't happy right now, and yet when I look back, I remember happy times. Maybe I should contact my ex. So even though point number three is about future thinking, and at this very moment, at New Year, your ex, the dumper, might be making huge plans for the future, huge exciting plans. That is what most people do. And sadly for people, they don't often pan out exactly as they imagine. And certainly they don't pan out as easily as some people like to imagine. So even though I have to say your ex, the dumper, is probably thinking to the future with positivity and making lots of aims, targets and New Year's resolutions, it is unlikely that they will achieve all of these without a difficult moment here or there moving forward into the new year. And if and when this happens, they will look back to the past, they'll look themselves in the eye and wonder if they made the wrong choice. Because if they're not feeling great right now, they will consider what their life could have been. And this is when a dumper will, if there is enough romantic emotional attraction, if there is enough fuel, then when the ignition takes place, this is when the flames of desire will grow in your ex's mind and they will reach out to you. So I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. I hope you realise that a dumper mindset doesn't necessarily mean this is going to be their future. You know, they might be feeling joyful, they might be future thinking. And although there is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back, there is no definitive way of knowing for sure if your ex will want to contact you again. What we can say is that there is every chance that even if they're feeling positive about being single or being in a relationship with somebody else right now, this doesn't necessarily mean this is how they will be feeling in the future months ahead. As you know yourself, you never know what's around the next corner. And as I said earlier, it could be good, it could be bad. You as the dumpy have experienced the struggle, and you should know better than anybody that this could be round your ex's corner as well. You just never know. But please remember that with or without your ex, you will have a positive future. It doesn't matter whether you get your ex back or not, because if you do the right things, you will find somebody even better. Please remember to have as good a new year as you can. Happy New Year, stay positive, move forward, and live life to the full. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bolt, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bolt got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.